A warm welcome to Lost for Words, a podcast where guests are invited to share their opinions, glories, and the most interesting stories. I am your host Jason, and this is episode 3. A big thank you to everyone for the kind messages I have had about the first 2 episodes, and I'm confident you'll enjoy this one too. This week, I am joined by a world champion, a true warrior, and someone who is an elite athlete and a master of his craft. The One Championship is an Asia-based fight promotion and the biggest MMA promotion in the world. Regian Eersel is a Surinamese-Dutch kickboxer who is the one lightweight champion of kickboxing. Regian, known as the Immortal, joins me on the podcast to discuss his route into kickboxing, some of his recent fights, the impact of COVID on his career, as well as how he came to be known as the Immortal. Regian is a great guest, and I am fully confident that you will enjoy his stories as much as I enjoyed chatting to him. I will see you on the other side. A quick housekeeping note before we get started. Please leave a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, or any other platform. It's the best way the podcast can grow and better content can be produced for you, the listener. It's your listening experience that matters the most. But enough from me, now on to today's episode of Lost for Words.
Hello.
Hi Regian, welcome onto the show. I am just going to cut straight to it. Am I right in saying you were born in Suriname?
Yes, I was born in Suriname.
When did you move to the Netherlands?
I moved to the Netherlands when I was 4 and grew up in Amsterdam Southeast. And I started kickboxing Muay Thai when I was 15. And I had my first fight when I was 16. And I think I became pro when I was 18 years. And but my first belt was I think I was 24 or 23 when I got my first belt for full Muay Thai belt in America. My first world title. And yeah.
So when you started out training, have you always been in the same gym since then? Have you ever changed gyms?
Yes, no, I never changed gym. I've been in the same gym since I was starting with kickboxing. That's Sichatong, Amsterdam.
And how do you find that not changing has helped your career? Does that loyalty mean a lot to you?
Yes, it means a lot to me. I know my trainers now for more than 13 years. And of course, I had thoughts, about leaving, but it never happens. Thankfully.
Where was your first fight?
My first fight, where or when?
Both. Where? Go where first?
My first fight was in Amsterdam. I was 16 years.
And did you get a lot of amateur fights before you were professional?
I think I had like 20 amateur fights before I became professional.
And were all your amateur fights in Amsterdam in the Netherlands?
Oh yeah, amateur fights were in the Netherlands, not only in Amsterdam, but all across the country, of course. But yeah, all in the Netherlands, yes.
So then, turning professional, where was your first professional bout?
My first professional bout was in Azerbaijan, and I lost that bout. I lost the bout on point. I even got the extra round. It was a tournament, by the way. And but the funny thing is, we had no weigh-in, so I never had the weigh-in. And
so were you fighting somebody that was clearly much heavier than you?
Yeah, all the other fighters also didn't have the weigh-in, so we never knew how heavy the other.
How does that even work?
I don't know, but I was on experience. It's my first pro fight. But they gave me extra round, and they said the other guy won. Okay, and I had to deal with it, but it was okay.
When do you remember your first victory as a professional?
My first victory was like, I think 2 months later, was in the Netherlands. The funny thing is I had to, my second pro fight was against the sparring partner of Nicky Holsken. And
Right.
the event was in his gym. So the gym of Nicky Holsken. And Nicky Holsken was in the corner of my opponent also.
Right.
But I wish I wanted to say to him, like, in the future we're gonna fight together, you know. I had that in my mind, but I never said it to him. But I wish I had said it to him.
So see, when you were, we'll come on to Nicky Hoskin, but when you were growing up, did you, because there's a good 10 years, I think, between the two of you, because he's a pretty experienced pro now. Did you idolise him when you were coming up as a kickboxer?
No, I didn't idolize him. I have still respect for what he has like accomplished in the sport, but he's not my idol.
So then moving on to your early career, were most of your fights as a professional away from Amsterdam in the Netherlands? Did you fight more abroad?
Yes, I think I have only like 10 fights in the Netherlands, and the rest I think I have in total 60 fights, professional fights, and yeah, only 10 in the Netherlands, and the rest are in foreign countries.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's better to fight in other countries than the Netherlands.
I'm from Scotland, so say in the UK we've got boxing, and a lot of the problems that we have with our boxers is that they fight too much here, and then as soon as they go abroad, they get found out. They don't have that experience of going away to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're saying you fought abroad more often, it probably builds up a bit of experience and mental toughness that maybe we don't get here.
Yes. I think also what you say about mental toughness. Yeah, especially when you fight in an other country, you know, you have the judge on the side of your opponent most of the time.
Yeah.
And most of the time the audience also. So yeah, you have to prove yourself. And I think that's what made me also like a strong fighter mentally. Because I was almost all the time the underdog, you know, and yeah, I kind of love that feeling, you know, to beat up the other guy and see the audience go quiet.
So when you won your first world title, it was the Lion fight in America.
Yes.
What was the preparation like for that? Were you at all nervous, or did you know you had a good chance of winning?
I was not. Yeah, of course. Before every fight, you are nervous. You know, that's the human being you are. But it's not that I'm super nervous or something. The healthy nerves. But my preparation was it was hard, but because it was a world title, so I prepare for war. You know, I fought against the number one number one from England, BBC number one ranked, Jake Purdy.
Yeah.
Southpaw fighter, and he was very good in the clinch and his elbows. So I prepare a lot for the elbows and the clinch. So yeah, it was hard preparation.
Was that fight in America?
Yes, it was a fight in America. Yes.
And then after that, I've got down here that you fought in the mixed fight gala in Germany after you defended your titles a couple of times.
Yes.
So that the mixed fight gala was a same night tournament.
Yes.
How is that different for you preparing and competing if it's all two fights in the one night?
I really enjoyed it. First of all, but it was also the first time for me. It was also a little bit strange because I won the first fight in the second round by way of TKO.
Yeah.
And then you know you celebrate a little, but you have to look where you have pain because you have to do it another. You have
Another
to do
time.
it another time. So you have to keep your body a little bit warm, just walk around. And then we had the second fight. The second fight didn't go as planned. He broke my nose in in the first, I think, 30 seconds of the first round. He broke my nose, and blood came out. And so I was afraid that the referee's going to stop it. So but after he broke my nose, I think 1 minute later I KO'd him by way of a liver punch, and I won the tournament. But
see, when you go through an adversity like that, like having your nose broken, how much does that help you develop as a fighter? Like does that earn you a lot of stripes and mental toughness that you can then bank on later on?
I think because of I'm mentally strong, I think that I have in my head, the more you hurt me, the more dangerous I become, I think. And I think that was what happened in the fight.
Do you think all fighters have that mentality, or is it pretty rare?
No, it's rare. You have different type of fighters, when you hear them, they close guard, they stop attacking you. But the very good fighters, when you hear them, they keep coming, because they're getting mad. But you have to control the madness, because if you don't control it, you make mistakes, of course.
So after that, you've won the gala. You've fought in the One Championship for the first time against Brad Riddell.
Yes.
You've won that, and then you went back to fight in Lion Fight again against Joachim Haag.
Yes.
Prior to the Haag fight, had you already agreed to move to One permanently, or did that come afterwards?
No, that came afterwards. So when I fought Brad Riddell, it was just a 1-fight contract,
Right.
And then after Lion Fight came with also one contract fight to defend my belt. And I think One Championship saw the fight and was pretty impressed by the fight. And I think at that point they wanted to sign me. And
What's it like negotiating with a fight organisation like that? How does it go? Is there a lot of back and forth? Like, just to explain for people who don't ever really know.
More back and forth, yes. But that's the job of my manager, of course. But it was like we negotiate like for 1 month or 1 month and a half. And then we came out with a solution, and then we signed the papers.
Perfect. So what was for you as the fighter, what was the attraction of the One Championship? What pulled you towards them?
The attraction was that I had like a steady like fight income, like also for the money, but fight schedule, because they offered me 3 fights, but I don't want that because it's less, Then we agreed for 4 fights a year, and that was good. So I already know I'm sure I'm gonna fight 4 times a year, and that's good for me. And they also about the paycheck, it was very good. So
right. And what is it fighting in Asia? Was that new to you? Do you enjoy it? What are the fans in Asia?
Yeah, in Indonesia it was crazy, because Indonesia is a former colony of the Netherlands, so we have in the audience also a lot of Dutch people. So it was really strange, but good. Because sometimes you hear Dutch voices. It's it was good experience.
So your semi-final against Njukani, that I was watching it earlier just to refer back to, but I remember at the time seeing the knockout, which seemed to me pretty fair. You've put him down.
Yeah.
Where did the controversy come afterwards that he was saying that it was an illegal blow?
Yeah. But if you go play it in slow motion, you clearly see that I first connected with my knuckle and that my elbow didn't touch his chin at all. So he can complain, but
what was your reaction to him complaining?
Yeah, just lifting my shoulders. Yeah, what can I do? If you think it's a illegal blow, then you have to complain. But we already spoke to the people of One Championship, and they say no, it's not illegal. We just played. Look, they even show me in slow motion. Like, look, It's not an elbow. You see it clearly, like it's my knuckles connect, bam, and my elbow. Of course, my elbow go. How do you say? My elbow missed his chin for like I think 2 centimeters or something like that. But I didn't connect with my elbows.
So then, moving into the first Holskin fight.
Yeah.
Do you feel you were pitted as the underdog for
Yeah.
that fight?
Yes.
And what were your tactics going into it then?
Yes, of course. Like I already said, when I fought his sparring partner in my second pro fight, I already knew that we're gonna fight, you know, because back then he was the glory champion. But yeah, you know, I already played that fight like 1 million times in my head. So for me, it was just like I only have to do it, you know. So for me, like yeah, it was nothing new for me. It was new because now it was like in real life, you know, real time. I had to do it, but my preparations for it were very good. The game plan was to put pressure on him, pressure.
Did you feel like they had maybe given him a bit of preferential treatment by just ordering the direct rematch?
Oh yes, absolutely. I even think that they didn't expect that I had to win the first time.
That's what I think as well. That's even just when I watched it back, and you sort of see the people, say the one executives in the front row next to the ring, they were a bit surprised. I thought that's maybe thrown a little bit of a spanner into their plans, because I think they were hoping for a Holskin win the first time, to be honest with you.
I think also.
The Holskin knee that was ruled a low blow, are you fairly certain that it was a low blow?
It was a low blow because his chin connected with my cup, you know, my protector, and my protector goes inside, and that was hurt me. So yeah.
So even when you think about that, so even if it hadn't been called a low blow, sorry, do you think that would have changed the outcome of the fight?
If it hadn't been a low blow,
If it hadn't been a low blow?
no, then I would go up, you know, and I would complain to the referee like, "Hey, it was a low blow," you know.
Going into number 2, so this time you are the champion. How does that affect your game plan? Does it change anything at all?
For the second fight?
Yeah, for the second fight.
Yeah, for the second fight, I wanted to knock him out, and I almost did it, but I made a mistake in the last 20 seconds of the first round. I dropped my hand, so he got me. And then after the first round, I was like, I don't gonna take a risk anymore, you know, because there's too much. How do you say?
Too much on the line, so too much to
too much on the
protect.
line. Yeah, to take risk. So we just fought the 5 rounds, and yeah, I proved that I'm the better fighter.
Do you see yourself more as a 5-round fighter, or do you prefer going for a knockout? Like, what seems more natural to you?
I see myself as a knockout fighter, but you know, when there is too much on the line, I prefer to don't take a risk. Yeah.
And then when you reflect on both of the fights, sort of side by side, which one would you say was more difficult?
The first one.
The first one?
Yes.
And would you fight him again in the future?
I think so, but I don't want it. But he's still number 1, you know, so he's still number 1 in the ranking. So I think we're gonna have a third fight.
So you fought in 3 times in 2019. You had your semi-final and then the 2 fights against Holskin.
Yeah.
2020 brings the pandemic.
Yeah.
How did that change your life as a professional kickboxer?
Yeah, changed my life. Not a lot, but yeah, the training. First of all, we had 2 lockdowns here in the Netherlands. The first lockdown, everything closed, you know. Then we had to train outside, but luckily it was summer. And then everything goes open again. The stupid Dutch people. Everything open again, so we can train, you know. Then numbers of infections, goes up, then they close everything again. Then we had the second lockdown, but we had the government gives approval for some gyms to open only for the professional fighters, and they give also green light for our gym. So luckily we can train now in the gym, but only with the pro fighters. So yeah, we kind of miss the group training, with everybody else. And yeah, we have a curfew still here, so that's also, we had to move the training to the afternoon because of the curfew.
What time is the curfew?
The curfew is 9:00.
And does that mean you have to be home, or does just things have to close at 9:00?
No, everybody has to be home 9:00. Yes.
That can't be ideal in a place like Amsterdam. That's a fair change from normal times.
Yeah, it is okay, but normally we start training at 8:00 in the evening. So
right,
yeah, so we have to change the time to 6:00 till 8, and then we have an hour to go home.
So then that brings us into 2021. The fight was initially against Murtazayev. When did you find out he had pulled out?
No, the first fight was against. I'm gonna tell you a secret.
Go for it.
I was scheduled against Mustafa Haida in I think October
of 2020.
Yeah, 2020. I fly to I tested myself here in the Netherlands. I was negative. I fly to Singapore. They test you on the airport, and then you go in hotel and that quarantine until the result is. So they test me on the airport. I go in quarantine. I get a phone call. Yeah, you are tested positive.
Oh no.
Yes. Then in Singapore, you have to go to the hospital, even if you don't have symptoms. So I go to the hospital. They test me again, positive. Okay. Then I think 2 days later, they did the blood test. A day for the fight, my blood results came in. Okay, I had antibodies. So they did the test again. The test was still positive, but the amount of virus, on the test was minimal. So then the doctor said you are not contagious anymore. Then you don't gonna get you don't how do you say?
You're not a danger to anyone else.
You cannot give it to somebody else. So you can fight. But I will say, okay, you tell me now. That was the day of the fight. So I said, listen, I'm here now for 7 days straight. I didn't train, do anything. So he asked me, can I call the organization that you're going to fight? I said, no, because, I had no preparation for 7 days. Only one thing I do is lay in bed here all day, because I was on a special corona hospital, so I cannot leave my room at all. Then I'm gonna get a fit to fly letter that I can fly. And then, but I can't say, ask them, can I put it on my social media? No, you cannot do that, blah, blah. I say, why not? Other fighters have done it, other fighters from one championship. They did it. And why I cannot because of blah, blah, blah. And something about laws and stuff like that in Singapore.
What were you not allowed to put on social media?
I wasn't allowed to put it on my social media.
Interesting. So then you fly back?
Yeah, I flew back. Then they said January against Mustafa Haida. Then I think in December he said that he had an injury. So I got another opponent, and that was the Russian guy, the Islam Murtazayev.
How close to the fight did it then change from Murtazayev back to Haida?
I think 4 weeks or something. 4 or 3 weeks. 3 weeks. No, 3 weeks before the fight. I heard it. That Islam had an injury also, and then they changed opponent again to Mustafa Haida.
Was that an issue training-wise because Haida is a southpaw?
No, not really, because I already prepared for him like in October, So we also prepared for him because he's a southpaw fighter. So I had that like still in my system, and yeah, we just have to do little things,
So the fight itself, that was fairly comprehensive. It didn't really seem as though he ever had you in any real bother. Did you feel like you were ever in any trouble?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And were you ever tempted to push for the knockout?
It's funny because every fight have a story. I failed my hydration test twice before the fight.
Right.
You know what the hydration test is? Yeah, you have to pee in a cup. Then they're gonna test how much water in your pee is. If it's less than some numbers, then you're failed. Because you lose too much water during the weight cut. Yeah. So I failed it twice. So you can imagine I was like busy till 2-3 o'clock in the night, in the morning. And yeah, I make it like in 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to fight like 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, or the same day. So my energy was a little bit low, and that's why I didn't knock him out. But I know if I made it like on time, I will definitely knocked him out.
So see, as you say, the pre-recorded event, and you fought in the afternoon. Is it easier to fight in the afternoon, or is it easier to fight at night time?
No, at night time.
Why?
For me, it's at night time, because my training, like I said, normally I train 8 till 10, in the evening, and normally I have the last fight, so that's also around 10 or 9 sometimes. So I prefer in the evening. But now, because they have like 30 fights on the same day, I had to fight in the afternoon.
So is that how it works? I was curious about how the pre-recorded event works. So they just do all the fights in one go and then separate them up into cards to get aired out at different times?
Yes, exactly. That's the way they do it.
That's crazy. I did not know
So
that.
each month they have one event with 30 fights, but they only let you see 8 fights each week.
But all those fights, in terms of they all happen in the same day?
Yes, exactly. But you're gonna see only 8.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask as well is, what was the quarantine hotel? What's it like being cooped up in the hotel before you're preparing?
It was fucked up, man. But we had a good hotel. I cannot complain, but we had a good hotel. Yeah, I only saw the airport, the hotel, the hospital, the stadium, and that's it. We came, like I'm gonna tell you, we came from the airport. We landed. We did our test, a COVID test. We go from the airport to the hotel in separate vans. Then we had to stay quarantined in your room until the result came out.
Yeah.
Then we were negative. Then we had to each time you want to eat, you have to order the food, so they bring the food to your room. Each time you want to train, you have to order the room to reserve the room, And each time you go out of your room, somebody's walking with you to where you're going, So if you go train, somebody's gonna walk with you to the training room, and when you're done, somebody's walking to you back to your room. Then I think 2 days for the fight, we did another COVID test. Then we had to stay also in quarantine 1 day. Then we go, in the afternoon, like 12 o'clock, we go to the stadium. It was crazy because I came there only 4 fights before me, so I had only like 1.5 hours to prepare. But it's okay, it's enough. But it's strange because when you go normally, you have like 8 fights, 10 fights. So sometimes you're gonna look to the fight, a little bit relaxed before you have to prepare for yourself for your fight. But now it was like, okay, we're gonna get the hands wrapped, everything quick, a little bit quick, and of course warming up. Then we fight in the empty stadium, of course, and it was strange because you hear everything. You hear even the cameras of the photographs, like click, 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 click. Even that you heard it during your fight, So it was crazy. right after the fight, we get a doctor's check, and from the doctor's check, with my fighting clothes on, we go into the taxi.
Right.
So I had everything
So
on.
you're not even allowed to unwrap yourself?
No,
you just
no.
go straight into the taxi?
Yes, straight into the taxi. I only didn't have my gloves on, like that. We go into the taxi to the hotel, and I was back in my room like 20 minutes after my fight. And I was like, back in my room. The sun was shining, like never ever even happened, And my social media didn't blow up, nothing, only my close family messaging me like, how was it going, And I was like, wow, I just fought, and for the world nothing happened, So it was strange. And then after the fight, like the next day, we did another COVID test. Then we have to go again in quarantine until the result. Then the next day, everybody was negative. Then the next day we can like hang out. We go to the pool, but you still have to reserve the pool to go to the pool, of course. And then from the hotel to the airport, then fly back to Holland. And then 3 weeks after my fight, I got to see the fight finally.
I'm going to make myself sound quite silly here. So when I was going back and forth with your PA Roxanne, so I'm messaging her thinking, oh, let me know that he gets back to the country, okay, like flying back home. And I didn't realise that fight had already happened 2 weeks before.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yes.
I was like, make sure you pass on my regards. Good luck for the fight tomorrow. And it's actually already happened 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
So how does that work with your social media then? Because you were posting the pictures of the hotel and stuff. How does that work?
Yes, that's the funny thing. Like, I only had to do like, I only can't tell the result. So I was allowed to post like I'm back in the Netherlands. I don't want that people gonna ask me like, oh, you already back, so you already fought. What? I don't really want that. So I just take a lot of pictures when I was there, and
then upload them at the time that they would have been.
post them like 1 a day or 2 a day, so people still think I'm there, So then I didn't have like the question like, oh, you're already back. So yeah, it was my choice to fool you guys,
That's pretty impressive, because you did the full quarantine life, get the picture of the bed, picture in the pool, and then the day after, chilling by the pool, relaxation.
Exactly.
So then plans, like looking ahead to the future for the rest of the year, is there anybody you would like to fight?
Not really. The only one that I want to fight right now is that fight is not possible. That's Cedric Doumbé, the Glory champion.
Right. The two companies not deal with each other?
Yes. No, they're not gonna do it. Because when Myrtle was injured last year in December, because I was preparing for Haida. What I was told already, I had to fight Haida in January, but he got the injury. So I was in my preparation. I heard like, they say like, yeah, it was like a couple hours. I just read it in the newspaper, like Myrtle Groenat is injured. Then like 2 hours later, they give me a phone call. Like, hey, are you available to fight Cedric? I say, yes, man, of course, So my manager already received a contract from Glory. And then only thing we had to do is get approval from one. But one said no. So I was really upset about that. Because I finally had the chance to fight, because I didn't fought like in 1 year or something. Yeah. And against Cedric Doumbé. So I was like, yeah, finally I can beat him, show the world who I am.
Have you ever met him before? Have you ever bumped into each other?
Yes, but he don't know because he didn't see me. Yeah, and he's very small, I saw.
You're a good, what, 6? You're 187 centimetres?
Yeah, 6'1". Yeah, 6'2". Yeah.
He is 5'9" at a push. He's pretty small, because he was noticeably smaller than. He's tiny compared to Myrtle.
Yes. He's smaller than Nicky Osgood, so yeah, I would need him. So yeah, but yeah, we will see. I know for sure that fight gonna happen in the future. Yeah,
One
one
day.
day. Even if he didn't is the champion or I am the champion, that fight's gonna happen. I know for sure. So, but we will see what the future brings. But for one, yeah, I really don't have somebody that I really want to fight. I'm here. They just pick a opponent for me, and I never say no to any opponent. So
So, see a question that I have just a passing interest in languages. So, what is it like? See when you do a face-off against a fighter that doesn't speak the same language? Is it awkward? Because I would imagine it'd be quite awkward.
no, for me it's not awkward. For me, I just look in your eyes and I'm gonna look if I see fear or if I see self confidence. And yeah, sometimes we shake hands, sometimes not. For me, I'm used to it, because I fight only in foreign countries, and most of the time is it with somebody that doesn't speak my own language. So yeah, I'm used to it.
And as what I wanted to say, I forgot to mention it earlier. Your dad, is he a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yes.
How does that help? How did that help you growing up? Was that part of your fighting education?
Yes, I training with him. Start training taekwondo when I was 8 years old, and I had like the blue belt with the red slip, and he had also a black belt in taekwondo. Then we moved to MMA, but yeah, I quit MMA and start doing rugby, and he quit MMA also and start to compete in BGG. And then I quit rugby and I started with kickboxing. So we had the same.
Same solid foundation?
Yes, and we have we had respect for each other because it is a fight sport. We're both fight sports. So, but yeah, he helped me a lot, give me advice, of course, and
How popular is rugby in the Netherlands?
not popular, not popular.
Right.
But only if you love it, But no, it's not really popular.
Away from kickboxing, do you have any hobbies and interests?
I have a little one. I have a daughter,
Right, how old is she?
8 months.
Right, okay. How's that be like being a new father? Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It feels great. I have like a new goal in life, new motivation. Yeah, it changed my life also, of course, because a child is is a big change in your life. And yeah, my hobbies now are hanging out with my daughter, um, watching Netflix, um, eating good food, hanging out with my girlfriend also.
What do you like to watch on Netflix?
I watch now Snowpiercer. I watch also The Walking Dead.
Right, okay, not bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, of course. All the crazy series, Narcos, Fargo. I don't know if you know Fargo.
Fargo's good. Fargo's good,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fargo. Yeah, that kind of series. I like violence, drugs.
Mhm.
Shooting, that kind of stuff.
The last thing I wanted to ask was, how often do you go back to Suriname, if at all?
Since I moved to the Netherlands, I think I going back like 12 times, something like that. So yes, but I have my grandmother lives there still, so I try to visit like once in 2 years, just to see her and stay with her, spend some time with her. And now also I want to go with my little one that she can see my little one also. So yeah, I think when the lockdown is over, I'll go back again.
Brilliant. So, just for the listeners, when I post this, do you want to tell people where they can find you on Twitter and or Instagram?
Oh yes, I have no Twitter, but you can find me on Instagram at Koolhydraat with a K, so K Kool
Perfect.
Yeah, or search me on YouTube. Just my name, Regian Eersel, and then you will see a couple of fights.
Some good knockouts.
Yes.
What was the thinking behind the nickname, the Immortal?
My friends gave me that name because when I was amateur fighter, it seemed that I never get tired, So they say like, yeah, in Dutch they say like you are the onsterfelijke. That means you are immortal, If you have the immortality in you. So I just kept that name as a fighter's name. And then the movie 300 came out. And there you see the Immortals also in the movie with the mask and the swords and stuff. So I was thinking like, hey, I really like this mask, And I already have the name the Immortal. So why don't we use the mask as my, as my sign, So I started using the mask first on a t-shirt. And then my manager said like, yeah, why don't you buy the mask and put it on your face, and then you walk out or before every fight. First of all, I'll say like, no, you're crazy. People gonna think I'm crazy, blah, blah, blah. But we were in China and I already bought the mask. He said, no, just do it, man. Fuck it, just do it. And then when I came in the stadium, everybody was, oh, Then I knew like, okay, I'm gonna do this before every fight.
Brilliant. No, that's me. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You also, thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. There you have it. That was this week's interview with one lightweight kickboxing champion, Regian the Immortal Eersel. A reminder that Regian can be found on Instagram at Koolhydraat, that is K for Kilo, OOLHYDRAAT. You can search his name into YouTube to see some of his fights. I would thoroughly recommend you watch the first fight against Nicky Hoskin. Thanks to Regian for his time and to his PA Roxanne for setting the interview up. I am really grateful. As ever, quick credits to finish off. The Lost for Words logo was made by AZR Creations and the music and sound effects are from zapsplat.com. Please stay in touch and stay engaged. You can follow the podcast on both Twitter and Instagram at Lost for Words Pod. Any 5-star reviews at all are massively appreciated and it really helps to grow the podcast. Thank you for listening to this interview with Regian Eersel. I am your host Jason and I will see you next week for episode 4 of Lost for Words.